How's it going, guys? I thought I'd just do a quick little video just so I can... I'm planning on taking out my Escort Cosworth. I've had to steal some radio gear. I was going to steal the radio gear out of my HPI car over there. Turns out it's going to be too much of a pain in the backside to do that, so I've nicked the radio gear from this HPI car, which is just over there. I just thought I'd quickly do this video. It's mainly just so I could show you the chassis. Like, I know you've seen it in one of my other videos when I show you the work I've done on it. I'm not too sure if this is the TA01 chassis or the TA02 chassis. Either way, I think they're both very similar, TA01 and TA02. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it looks alright. It's running an electronic speed controller, not an analog one. I'm not gonna lie, that brings me to a point actually, guys. Being into RC in the 90s, it was actually good times, but when you look at stuff these days, like radio gear, let's just grab this. So like, let's just grab this. And let's just go for this. So radio gear of the 90s, 80s would look something like this, where you have to pull the aerial out. You would have an analog speed controllers. You would have to run 2 servos. You know, I remember back then it was alright. It was alright. It worked. It was good. Now you look at it these days and it sucks. Like, it was good back then, but I'm just so glad that technology, like new radio, old radio. So analog, digital, much more better frequency from digital than analog. I think the only thing what really lets these down is the crystals. I think that might be the problem I was having with that car. Like, I know it was working, but actually this car too, because this car is quite old. Actually, that's the radio gear for it. When I tried it, I couldn't get it to work. I plugged in, say, like some digital radio gear. The steering would work, but the car was going on its own. Also, with this car, it hasn't got a bearing kit in it, so it is actually quite stiff to push it, so I didn't really run it for too long. Plus, it started acting all crazy on its own. The steering was working, but it was just going on its own. If you dialed the throttle down or dialed it up, it didn't do anything. So it could be the crystals. Maybe it does need new ones, but I'm not worried about that. But yeah, guys, the old school radio compared to nowadays radio. Like, I never used to like the 2-stick controllers anyway. I've never been a big fan of these. And they're always big and bulky, ain't they? Look, I got this one. And then I got this one. Is this one ACOMs? Yeah. I mean, look at the size of these things. It's like a spaceship. But they used to do the job back in the day. They were good. But unlike the digital stuff today, you just get far more range. You ain't got to worry about the crystals like dying out, because there's no way you can tell if the crystals die out. I remember that happened once. I was running my mate's nitro car. I think he had a Sen, and I'm ripping it across the field, and I've let off the throttle, but the car hasn't stopped. It kept going. And I'm saying to me, mate, I'm not controlling your car. It's going on its own. And I remember he looked at me as to say, "You're full of shit, Matt. Like, you're lying." I was like, "Mate, I'm not lying. Your car is going on its own." As soon as he realised the car was going on its own, he started trying to chase it. Obviously, you're not going to catch it. It's too fast. But anyway, the car hit a bump, rolled over, landed upside down. He went and got it. And I do actually believe it was from the crystals. I don't think the batteries were dead, because obviously you've got to put them in a box, in it, so you can run the servos. I think the batteries are alright, but I think it was the crystals that caused that runaway, you know. Since then, I've never been a big fan of this analog radio. like, obviously it was right back in the day, but the digital stuff these days is just so much better. But yeah, I thought I'd give you a quick little look at the chassis. Like, do you like how I put the RS in there? I only done that because that would be where the original ESC would be. Your speed controller, it'd be an analog one, so it would move across. The upper servo would sit here, which is where I've got the speed controller sat down in there. But originally, yeah, your old one would have been sat on here. I believe the blocks would be, oh, I can't remember where they go, but they sit around here somewhere with the 3 blocks, and then you put, with the 3 wires, you put them into your blocks. I think it's like a resistor, like for the heat. But yeah, I just thought I'd quickly show you the chassis. I'm going to put the radio gear in. I've charged the battery already. So yeah, I'll give it, I'll put this radio gear in, and I'll take it outside. I'm not going to go too mad because I don't want to destroy the lettering on the tyres. I absolutely love this car. It's one of my most favourite rally cars. I've always been a big fan of the Escort Cosworth. Also, for Mark 1 RC, if he does watch, I spent some considerable time on this last night. So I put some grease in the differentials. I've also switched out the suspension to some Anisman Racing ones. It's made it a bit stiffer, but I'm just hoping it'll improve the performance of the car. I'll only know that when I drive it. But anyway, I just thought I'd give you a quick little look at this chassis. As you would have seen from one of my other videos, I've done a lot of work to this car. From totally re-stickering this shell, to making this roll cage, painting up the cockpit, fixing this chassis. As I said in my other videos, all of these red bits were broken and split. The last time I ran this car was probably when I changed all of this, which would be, guessing, roughly about 1.5 to 2 years ago. So yeah, I will do a run video very shortly, and I will see you then. Well, I did have a bit of a slight issue, guys. The radio gear from this car didn't work, so I've nicked the radio gear from this car, which is this radio gear here. I'm not gonna lie, right, this radio gear, I had this radio gear for around about 6 or 7 years. This radio gear was from a Helion car, which, this is the radio gear from that car. The car is out in the shed. I broke the steering bit, but I never really bothered fixing it again after, because it was just a 2-wheel drive kind of buggy kind of thing. I could probably still fix it, I just ain't bothered. So anyway, this is the radio gear. And originally as well, from that same car, the ESC is in this truck. So the ESC, what was in that Helion car, is in this truck, and it still works. Even this radio gear still works. And just so you can see, it working. Here's the radio on, car on. I think the steering is running the wrong way, but I'll sort all that out, guys. I'll get it stuck in, and then I'll take it out. There you go, guys. Radio gear's in, ready to go.